Good morning, this is Angela with Parker's Permaculture. I'm out on my run this morning and thought I would stop at my neighborhood park to talk about a really special permaculture plant. So I'm at Sen's Dairy Park. You can see here that there's a lovely little playground, but there's also our community garden back here. And all throughout the edges of the park, the neighborhood association has planted with lots and lots and lots of native plants all around the edge back here. And the one I really want to talk to y'all about this morning is this tall plant here. This is in the genus Mahonia, sometimes put in the genus Berberine. There is some debate amongst botanical taxonomists where it goes, but for all intents and purposes, let's put it in Mahonia. This is the Oregon grape. There are a few different species of Oregon grape here where I am, including the tall Oregon grape and the dull Oregon grape. So let's go in and look at this plant because I think it's a really useful permaculture plant, and you might consider making a space for it in your permaculture system or natives garden. So as you can see, the Oregon grape is quite tall. It can get up to 10 feet tall. The ones in my garden are probably about 8 feet tall, and they're 10, 11 years old. The reason I wanted to talk about the ones here at the park is because mine are in quite a shady spot, and these here are, even though we're on a busy street, are a great example of what the plant looks like when it is going into bloom, and mine in the shade are not blooming yet. You might be surprised to find them blooming in January. The Oregon grape is fantastic pollinator food. Bees love it. And it is a little early. In fact, it's in the high 30s this morning. You can see the nice open blossoms that are easy. That's the kind of shape of flower that bees really like. The plants are blooming now, and it's too cold for bees to be visiting it this morning. But if it warms up into the 50s, when bees are out on their cleansing flights, they will stop and visit it. I believe hummingbirds will also visit this plant as well. So in permaculture, we talk about stacking functions, which is where you really want an element in your system, be it a plant or a structure, to do as many jobs as possible, because then you can pack as much into one space as you can, and you are increasing your efficiency that way. Just like I don't want a kitchen gadget that only does one thing, because it takes up space in my cabinets. I want something in my permaculture system to do as many jobs as possible. So we have the Mahonia because it is a great pollinator food. Awash in early spring blossoms, great early food. Mahonia aquifolium, the tall Oregon grape, gets that name. Aquifolium basically means sharp-leaved. It has these really spiky leaves, thorny leaves. And that makes it a great plant for using in an area where you need a protection, like a hedge or somewhere you're trying to keep humans and or wildlife out. It's very uncomfortable to fall into this plant. Here in the Pacific Northwest, holly is used a lot as a landscaping plant because it's evergreen and because it's quite spiky, but it's very invasive. And so I would encourage you, if you really want that holly look for the leaves of a landscape plant, and you want the evergreen, and you want the fact that it's a hedge plant, consider using Oregon grape instead because it's not invasive. So we've already got two functions: pollinator food, hedge, protecting plant. But there's more going on here. So obviously as a native, this plant is going to provide habitat for other natives, and it's going to work well in a landscape on the West Coast, where again, it naturally occurs from Alaska all the way down to Northern California and inland a little bit. I believe there are species of Mahonia all the way to New Mexico. The root of the Mahonia contains a alkaloid called Berberine, which imparts a really lovely golden color to the roots, but also is the same compound that is used, that is found in goldenseal, which is a much sought after medicinal plant. However, goldenseal is considered over-harvested and threatened. So if you're looking for a medicinal source of berberine, I think there's a lot of commercial potential in the Oregon grape because it is obviously abundant in the wild, not threatened, and really easy to cultivate, unlike goldenseal. Okay, cultivation of this plant. As you can see here, it's in pretty much full sun, but as we look up, you can see there are a lot of coniferous plants around. This plant prefers the understory of coniferous woodlands. It likes acid soil. It loves pine needle leaf litter. Loves protected areas, but it is also very wind resistant. It grows a lot along the coast, and it does very well with salt spray and with high wind. So think about that in your landscapes. So the last element of this plant that I think is worth mentioning, and is the main reason most people grow it, is that all of these yellow blossoms will in the early summer turn into loads and loads of fruit. It's called the Oregon grape because you get these clusters of purpley blue fruit. They're much smaller than an actual grape, about the size of a pea, and they are very tart and a little astringent and not good to eat raw. They don't taste anything like a grape. However, when dried and made into fruit leather, as indigenous communities have done here for centuries, or cooked in with meat or juiced, they're very, very good and very nutritious, full of antioxidants. They're also really, really great for making wine. Oregon grape wine is fantastic, and as you can see, you can get enough for a batch of wine off of one plant. So again, that is the Oregon grape, Mahonia genus. We're looking at a permaculture plant that can do many things. Be a protective hedge, provide habitat for wildlife, provide food for pollinators, provide medicine from the roots, and an edible, nutritious crop of food for humans and for birds. All right, well, I'm gonna go finish my run and I'll be back soon. Oh, look, there's a little hummer coming to visit the flowers. I'll be back soon. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Thanks.